Hello, good evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone, wherever you're joining and listening to this from. My name is Florence Akpan, and I'm here to talk today about the recent news and changes that we were expecting today, January 21st, on PGWP eligibility. So, for those of you who have been following the recent immigration updates, you will know that IRCC announced that on January 21st, 2025, that there will be a list released for foreign workers who hold jobs in tier 2 or 3 to determine if their spouses will be eligible for PGWP. So I am here to tell you that list has been released, and I'm going to be walking you through how to find that list and a few things that you need to know to confirm that your spouse will be eligible to apply for a spousal open work permit or even extend an existing work permit as well. So what I'm going to do here is share my screen, and I'm going to walk you through, because it's a little bit difficult to actually find it. IRCC didn't make it easy for you to find this information, but I'm going to walk you through how you can find this for yourself, because this is probably a list that you're going to have to go back to frequently to know if your spouse would be eligible. So I'm going to share my screen and I'll walk you through that. And there's also going to be a link that will help you get to this directly as well. Okay, so here we are, open work permit for family members of foreign workers who can apply. So as of January 21st, it's today, 21st, I am recording this video. The eligibility requirements will change for open work permits of family members. So I'm not going to go through reading everything that's on here. I'm really focusing on those temporary foreign workers who are on work permits that are wondering if their spouses can actually get their work permit extended or get a new work permit. So what you want to do is come onto this website. You can definitely Google open work permits for family members of foreign workers who can apply. That's another way that you can get to this page right away. And then once you come here, there are a few questions and prompts that you actually need to respond to determine where you fall under. And I'm going to walk you through that. Have you applied for permanent residence through an economic program or pilot listed below? So they actually have a list of the programs here. Have you applied for PR? And the answer is no. So I'm just assuming this is a temporary foreign worker who has not applied for any permanent residence program. So your answer will be no here. Are you a temporary foreign worker who has received work permit through one of the eligible pathways to permanent residence stream listed below? Again, there's also another list, and the answer is no. Are you a high-skilled worker? So for temporary foreign workers in Canada, for your spouse to be eligible for a spousal open work permit, you need to have work experience in tier 0, 1, 2, or 3, right? So you're going to say high-skilled worker. I'm just focusing on those people now, not the low-skilled workers. High-skilled workers, the answer is yes. So it said you're a high-skilled worker and not on a pathway for permanent residence through one of the streams. As of this, only select spouses may be eligible for open work permits under these measures, right? So you can see here that when you scroll down, you see the information that IRCC now has. Now you want to look at there's a requirement for the principal applicants, right? You have to hold a work permit. An approval for work permits hasn't been issued yet. This means you may receive it at port of entry or introduction. I'm not going to go through all the details of this. You are employed or will be employed. And that will be employed is important. So for example, if you have a job offer and you've not started working yet, so technically you have a job offer and you're going to start working in a high-skilled work that is tier 0, or in a professional, tier 0 is typically managerial jobs or professional jobs in tier 1, or select tier 2 or 3. So what we've been waiting for is what tier 3 jobs would look like. They had told us the industries that those would be in, but IRC has now released this very long list, right? So it's typically in construction, healthcare workers, education. That's the long list. I can't even go talking or reading all of it, but I want you to know that these are the list of occupation. We can see massage therapists in there. We can see a lot of trade occupation. We can see a little bit of agriculture as well in here. Lots of medical fields as well. Licensed practical nurses are in here. Respiratory therapists are all in here as well. So this is tier 2. So this is the list. So if your spouse, who is a foreign worker in Canada, has a job in tier 2 in one of these occupations listed on here, then you may be eligible for a spousal open work permit, of course, if all other requirements are met. And then tier 3 is also here: dental lab assistant, medical laboratory assistant, nursing aid. This is a very popular one. Nursing aides are also covered on here: elementary school teachers, athletes, coaches, and all of that. So tier 3 list is not as much as tier 2 list, but at least it gives you a good idea of what IRCC is looking at this time for the purposes of the application for spousal open work permits. So there you have it. Just to go back again and look at the principal applicant's requirements, and I don't know if this is really clear there and you can see, but there will be a link for this as well. There are, for if you are a temporary foreign worker in Canada, this is what the requirements you must meet. And I really want to draw attention to a specific section of this, which basically is one that you have to be careful about if you're trying to apply for a spousal open work permit for your spouse. Your work permit or authorized work must be valid for at least 16 months or more after we receive your spouse or common law partner's application for open work permit. So this means if you're in Canada right now and your spouse, you're working in one of the skilled occupation and you would like your spouse to join you, time is of essence. You need to check that you still have 16 months left. And if you do, you need to apply for the spousal open work permit right away for your spouse so that you don't miss out on this. You're living in Canada or plan to live in Canada while you're working. There are key 4 items here. You have the work permit, the 16 months. You're living in Canada or plan to live in Canada, and you're employed in tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. Remember, 2 or 3 are the ones that have the specific jobs that I have just talked about. So I hope this gives you a little bit more insight into what IRCC is looking for, and it gives you the opportunity to assess your eligibility. And if you have any questions about this, what you need to do, definitely reach out to my team and I. We would be more than happy to work with you and navigate these changes as well. But what this really means for a lot of people right now is that if, for example, you're an international student or you're even a temporary foreign worker working in Canada, it is really important that you start looking into finding the right type of employment if you're looking to have your spouse come join you. Right type of employment will also actively explore your pathways to get to permanent residence. Because honestly, the moment you get that, it opens up a lot of doors. You're eligible for things like bridging open work permit, depending on the pathway. And you know that in a short time, your application done well, everything checking off, your family will become permanent residents in Canada. So getting the right job is now very important. The fields are limited. Try to, if you have especially work experience from your home country, that you can leverage to get into a professional job in tier 0 or 1, that should be your target, that should be your goal. And if it has to be tier 2 or 3, you have the list that you're looking at. So take this seriously, because it's going to, of course, impact that long-term stay in Canada and all of that. And when in doubt, do not hesitate to reach out to us. Ask at infoplacecanada.ca. Our DMs are always open. Our emails are open. Our phone lines, most importantly, is open during office hours as well. 306-585-6565. Very easy. But if you have any questions, do not hesitate to reach out to us. We look forward to speaking to you and also helping you navigate through all these changes and helping you with your application. Time is of essence. If you're eligible now, just apply, because we don't know what IRCC is going to do next. Well, this was just a quick one. I wanted to jump on here and just really dive into this and talk about it. And I'm sure there'll probably be more questions from all of these changes that have come out. But I just wanted to talk about those tier jobs. Thank you once again, and I'll see you on my next video.